This is Gam Chat. My name is Greg.
I'm McCoy.
And I'm D.
We're three Filipino gay guys trying to make sense of anything and everything in the world today. Welcome to our podcast. So this is our QUEERies episode. We receive queries. Get it? QUEERies episode. QUEER. Oh, wow. D, thanks. And this was his idea too. And so we get queries via social media, from IG, Twitter. Even we get queries via like audio through our Anchor.fm, I believe. Is that how it is? Or Anchor what?
Yes. Anchor.fm, where you can leave voicemails.
Yeah, you can leave voicemails, which is really cool because we could play those queries on the podcast as well. Welcome to this segment that we call You've got Queries. Again, we're all a work in progress, and so is that intro.
Aren't we all?
We really are.
It's a process. All right, so before we start, we are drinking some alcohol to loosen us up for your queries.
Yeah.
McCoy, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Pinot Noir. It matches my mood. Very noir.
Whoa, that's dark.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That says it all. And how about you, D? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking coffee because I need to stay up. I am so sleepy, and I don't know what else I can do to stay up right now.
Wait, what kind of coffee are you drinking? Are you drinking the Vietnamese coffee?
No, a bougie cold brew with oat milk because I am lactose. TMI.
And now you know he's definitely from LA. And I am drinking actually a French cognac.
Oh.
It's called, well, I guess as an American you call it Camus. But then if you're French, it's Camus.
What if you're Filipino?
Camus? How about that? Is that good? It's almost.
Oh god, that's so corny. I need to drink some more.
It's a really good French cognac, and if you could check it out, it's pretty good. I found it in our collection of liquor, my family's liquor, so I decided to steal it. It comes in our...
How long has it been there?
So I think it was in our wine cellar back in the day, so I don't know. 1980s?
So it's vintage.
It is vintage, but look how it's a pretty glass bottle. It looks like a genie in the bottle. It really is.
It really is.
Let's talk about bottles and uncorking our bottles. What are some of our queries, McCoy?
Let's go to the first one. It's from Kiefer of Pop That P podcast. They talk about anything that has to do with psychological, mental health and stuff like that.
Ooh, that sounds really good. Pop that P.
Well, yeah. Oh, never mind. I was going to say something. No.
What? So, it's not the first time, is it going to say?
Well, since the pandemic. So anyway.
He's been popping that bottle of peanut like how many episodes ago?
Yes.
Lots of bottles of peanut.
At least I'm getting some kind of nuts.
Oh.
Okay.
That's so like, koala.
Oh my god. Did you just learn that? I've never heard you say that.
I know it.
Okay.
I want to do a comic book called Koala Boy.
Oh, did I inspire this?
Your life did,
okay.
Yeah, actually.
Oh my god, you're such an asshole, I swear. Okay. So the question is, are you afraid of getting old?
Ooh.
Like grandfather old. Should I go first?
Yes, since you're closer.
So, oh my god. First of all, you're a month older than me, Greg. So no, I'm not closer. So, let's see. When I was 20, I was scared of turning 30. But when I passed 30 years old, I didn't care. So am I scared of getting old like grandfather old? No, I'm not. I'm scared of growing old alone.
Oh.
And from the rate I'm going, I think I should be prepared for that possibility.
As he's sipping a wine or chugging wine bottle.
Yeah.
McCoy's going through that now, not afraid part, but the acceptance part.
I just accepted that that's gonna be my fate. Who knows?
Oh, okay. Hence Peanut Noir.
It's very noir.
It's coming out now, but you've never been afraid. So you have been afraid.
When I was in my 20s, I was afraid of getting old, but after my 30s, I didn't care.
Huh.
I just saw it as like a new chapter in my life, something to look forward to, because if you're going to look at it negatively, then you're going to have a negative outlook. And I didn't want to be like that. But the getting old alone part is something you can't help.
That's a problem. Well, what when you were younger, what exactly were you afraid of?
Being that guy at the club who's like 40 years old and hanging out with people who were 20.
What's wrong with that?
When I was in my 20s and I would see that, I'm like, what are you guys doing here? I was so judgmental, and I was such, what's the word? Ageist? Is that the word?
Yes.
People who were like in their 30s wanted to date me, and I was like, no, you're too old. But even when I was in my 30s, I was still a little bit ageist also. People in their 40s were like, would want to date me. And I'm like, oh, I don't think so. But now that I'm way past that, not that I would go back and date someone much younger than I am. I have this like 10-year rule, I guess. 10 years younger, and maybe that's like the limit. Oh, fuck, I just lied because I dated someone who was 26 earlier this year.
So, still a work in progress. I could.
Yes, apparently.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
Aren't we all, though?
We all are. And let me ask you this. So,
yeah.
So what specifically, I think, changed your perspective on age?
You mean like me dating someone older or me getting older?
Your idea of like, hating them guys who are older than you, not giving them a chance.
No, I didn't hate. I didn't hate them.
Judge
I just
them.
didn't see myself dating.
Just despise them.
Oh, I just didn't like the idea of dating them, and that was just me. But now, when you get a little bit more mature and older, you become that guy who you used to not want to date. Not that I'm going to date anyone younger than me or way younger than me, but I don't know what I'm saying.
I think when we were all younger, we really had that ageism. Mm-hmm. I think it was about questioning what could you have in common with someone older than you or younger than you. So that was it. But for me, I mean, I used to go around like telling people my cutoff age is 75. Not to date, but like by then, like, cut me off because I don't want to be around by then.
Oh, you want to be dead by then?
Yes. I look at the age more of I don't want to be a burden to someone.
Okay.
The way to combat that is we really prepared ourselves, not just financially, but like have a plan.
Okay.
Amado and I are not planning to have kids. And that's our fear, is that I don't want to have someone else step in and have to worry about us.
I know what you mean.
That's the portion that I really worry about.
Okay.
I think I've upped my age from 75 to maybe 80 now, reasonably. But, again, if it's longer than that, hopefully it's at a comfortable stage where, we're not really relying on other people.
Okay, let me just jump in because I think I was able to form a coherent thought. What changed my mind about being, age and all that, like dating someone older or getting older, I think it just comes with maturity. Like the things you experience throughout your life, throughout your 20s, your 30s and all that, it will shape you and it will change the way you look at things. And I think I've gone through so many shit in my life that I was able to be more mature, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And with that comes with accepting who you are, accepting your age, accepting the fact that you cannot stop the aging process, and you have to accept that and you have to look forward to it, or else you'll just be bitter. Yeah, I don't want to be that.
It takes wisdom to recognize that as well too.
Yeah.
So because he called you old because you have wisdom.
Well, I think we've proven I'm not so wise sometimes. Hence the Pinot Noir.
For me, are you afraid of getting old, like grandfather old? I think when I was a lot younger, I had fear or apprehension of aging. I think our society, most societies, just really like glamorize the whole like younger and beauty, and especially I think in the gay scene.
Oh yes,
we show that in a way, and also in the gay scene, this is interesting. It made me think about this too. In the gay scene, we also glamorize even being like an older white gay male. Right? We don't really glamorize or show the beauty even of gay men of color. Yeah. And that also goes to the lesbian community as well too, right? And we don't have a lot of those imagery and whatnot. And I was thinking about this, like, am I afraid of getting older? Yeah, I think now at this time in my life, I see age in a completely different way. Like, so there is your chronological age, which honestly is a construct of how humans categorize, right? 365 days is 1 year. You live that long, you're older, but that's just chronologically, right? That actually doesn't really tell you anything about anyone. Because I remember when I was younger, my aunt said that when I was like 6, I looked like I carried the world on my shoulders. And you could probably, with that, assume that my emotional age, for example, is a lot older than a 6-year-old. Also, you know, because I have worked with people with disabilities, and you could see if you have an illness or you have a disability, some people might say that your body is a lot older than your actual chronological age.
I've heard that before.
So I see age in a very different way because I think for me right now, I feel a lot younger than my actual chronological age. I feel a lot older. And so seeing the world through that, you know, that perspective, I'm not afraid of getting older. I'm probably more afraid of not living life to the fullest, you know, like maybe to get a certain age and not have done X, Y, and Z. And even then it's troubling because I remember I was younger, I was like, oh, by age of 30, I would be more financially secure. And by age of 35, I would be going through an adoption process on my own. And, you know, those expectations didn't happen for me, right? And it's also about just being flexible as well, too. And just to understand age in a whole new way it's about experiences. It's about, you know, emotional maturity, emotional mental health, physical health. So I think at this point, I'm not afraid of getting older.
When you said the gay community, it kind of triggered a thought. Or a memory, because I remember when in my 30s I was so scared. I'm like, I have to find someone. I can't be single by the time I get to 40 because I would have expired by then. I'm no longer dateable.
Oh wow.
That was my mindset in the gay community. Once you turn 40, you're no longer dateable, you're no longer desirable. But I had to change that mindset because obviously I'm still single. So but it's like, no, men in their 40s are just as beautiful as men in their 30s or even 20s, just in a different way. Their mind is fuller, and their experiences and their ideas and their thought process is so much fuller. And so I had to change that.
I think what hinders that for anyone around that age is more really accessibility accessibility to find each other.
Yeah.
If you look at it that way, because I mean, everything else that's happening right now is like our tools that geared for, you know, as an age group and not necessarily, you know, for anyone around that age or anyone older. My views on age changed along with like learning what I want or goals. Like Greg mentioned earlier, by 30 you're supposed to have this, 35 you're supposed to have that. I think when I started doing wedding photography, I learned like, like these heteronormative goals that are set for everyone else, does it really apply to everyone or does it need to apply to everyone? You know, it broke that thing that, I'm supposed to have a house with a white picket fence with a child and a dog at this age, or, you know, I'm supposed to be in this age career-wise. But I've learned, you know, meeting a lot of people doing weddings, like they're able to accomplish things with different means or sometimes even assistance from other people. So that's where I kind of like narrow down my goal along with age of, like Greg mentioned, like age is just really a number. It doesn't matter what you've accomplished or how far along you are with that. It really is like within your personal means on how far you're able to get by with what you have. So that was more my thing.
You know, you're making me think too, McCoy, about this idea of the fear of being alone.
Yeah.
As you get older. Yeah. I mean, I think everyone has at some point or continues to feel that. And I think that's completely valid.
This is my biggest fear.
I'm looking back at my mom's life, right? And, you know, as I talk to my other friends, like we always talk about like getting like having one of those like Filipino compounds.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Everybody lives separately, but they're all in the same lot.
Yeah, it's like the whole family. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool. And so, I mean, my mom would probably say otherwise. It's better not to be in a relationship for a whole life.
But Greg, you have to understand, her generation is like different, and they look at things like this differently. Because the Philippines, they do that, like extended families live in like one compound and they have different houses or apartments.
Yeah.
But they're like, it's like one community with like a gated community. It's kind of fun. Yeah, I grew up around that.
It's really cool.
But the thing is, we do have that here. It's just that it's not financially accessible for everyone else that's out here. So I've read somewhere that most Asian countries, since especially like Japan and China, the population for older people is higher than the youth. So pretty much the kids or descendants who are not expected to or can't financially care for their parents, especially having two per one person, and then when you get married or when you are with someone, that doubles. So the older generation don't expect their kins to take care for them. So those kind of those kind of housing systems were set up for them. And then, I mean, it's not luxury, but they have the basic amenities of like activity centers. The market that's close by, and it literally is like an entire building where older senior citizens are out living and able to still continue to be a part of society without being excluded completely from everyone else. And it's just really a matter of having that accessible financially for everyone else.
So Dee, you had mentioned how doing this like wedding photos and all that made you think about like you should be this and you should be that by a certain age. Forgive me, Greg, but I'm gonna do a Sex and the City reference. I know you probably didn't watch that or you're not into that. You're so highbrow.
Sex and the City. Oh, love Sex and the City.
Oh my God! Okay, I'm sorry. I judged you.
Who doesn't love Sex and the City? You're crazy.
Well, you'd be surprised. Okay, so I mean, they had this episode about why, granted it's from a female perspective, but they said like, why are we shooting all over ourselves? Big society tells you should be married by this age, you should have a house by this age, you should have a kid by this age, etc., etc. And that episode made me realize I shouldn't do that to myself. So when gay marriage was approved here in the U.S., some in my family would always ask me, so when are you gonna get married? I'm like, how can I get married? Am I gonna get married to myself? It's like, first of all, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna pressure myself to find someone so I can get married just because I can. It's like if I'm not ready, I'm not ready. And I shouldn't have to go through this timeline of that society sets for me. I don't care about that. I'll go on my own timeline.
Also, like, what do they mean and when are you gonna get married? What are the expectations? Are you supposed to have a wedding? Are you supposed to have a big party? Like those are the things that actually I woke up to and realized like, that's that doesn't have to happen for it's not a requirement for you to get older or a rite of passage for you to be able to say like, oh, I'm now an adult with an accomplishment.
I think the cool part about being in the LGBTQ community is that we are making our own rules for ourselves. We are making our own rules for relationships, and I think a lot of times our only frame of reference is these heteronormative rules. That you have to do X, Y, and Z at a certain time, but we make our own rules up. Like we don't have to fall in line like everyone else, and we always have to remind ourselves that, and also not be judgy of people who are older than us.
I don't judge you guys.
Oh my God.
Did I ever say I judge you guys? I don't. Like I've never made that comment.
If you could see Greg's face.
If I could just slap you right now, I probably would.
You guys would be like, wait, I can't hear him again. Did he get cut off again or something?
Okay, to be fair to my family, when they asked me when I'm going to get married, I think it was clear because a couple of them had actually said it outright that they're scared that I will grow old alone. Because, like in Filipino society, being gay equates to you not having kid, not having a family, etc., etc. So they have that fear for me that I'm not gonna have my own family. And if I'm not married, I'm gonna really grow old alone. In a way, they could sense my fear.
Well, I look at my mom's generation and her friends, and
Yeah.
honestly, they were the most happiest not with their husbands and their life in their life. They are actually the most happiest when they have their friends, when they go to different restaurants and they laugh. They seem to be extremely happy. So my mom's always advice is like, oh, don't get married. You don't have to get married to be happy. And I was, at one point I thought my mom was a lesbian. I'm like, Mom, you should just be a lesbian, you know? She was like, nah, not for me.
Greg, do you think that's more of like the title and the commitment? Like changing everyone else's view once they're there? I mean, that's one thing that I always tell everyone. When people have asked, so, you know, what, like an advice or something, that's one thing that we always say is like, just because you signed a piece of paper and had like a ceremony doesn't change anything else.
Yeah.
It should have been how it was before that day you guys had an event or that party or that ceremony. If you guys feel like something changed because a title was given to you by the government, then that's something that you need to revisit, because, well, what did that ceremony mean to you guys? You know, to me, it just, I mean, taxes are better. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
You know, insurance is better. That, you know, that's one thing that, you know, that we had going for us. And maybe just, you know, that like little giggly feeling that when you say husband, you know, honestly, that's it. But other than that, like nothing changed between us. Like we would still bicker the same way, have the same, you know, sometimes have the same fight, which shouldn't be the same fight. But, you know, those are the things that you really need to consider, I think.
Yeah, you made me think about this idea incorporating to age is the idea of happiness. You know, I think sometimes we think about, you know, the question is, you know, like if you're afraid of getting old, or like a grandfather, or, you know, grandmother in some cases.
Yeah.
And somehow being at the age, happiness will either go down for you as you get older. Mm-hmm. And happiness isn't like that. Happiness, it doesn't come at a specific age or at a specific marker in your life, whether it's marriage as a marker. You know, it doesn't work that way. Happiness doesn't work that way. And understanding age doesn't work that way either, I don't think.
Next question, McCoy.
And we're all deep thought. It's not, you know, what I really like about this question is that really thinking and being mindful about age, not on a superficial level, but on a deeper level.
Yeah,
it's important and it's profound, no matter where you are in your life.
Yeah, I think I've actually even not really the thought of looking a certain way at a certain age has not crossed my mind as a worry. In a couple of years, that like I've kind of actually like let go of that. I've just been focusing on what can I do for myself at this point. You know, really maintaining like, yes, let me go running, go hike as much as I can. Like I don't really consider myself like, oh, age-wise, I need to be at this, you know, I need to be in this physical stature compared to anyone else. Because again, I've realized that not everyone goes through the same journey. So I just really have to do what I can, get as much physical, you know, exams that I can, listen to my doctor. I mean, I am there, folks. I am taking multivitamins daily.
Yes.
No,
per my doctor's, you know, suggestion, because, you know, I mean, that's all I can do for myself. So it really is that I'm at that point where what can I do for myself just to make sure that I am happy and I can be around to whoever else that I want to be available for.
Absolutely.
And McCoy, so what do we have for question number 2?
Question number 2. It's from my sister-in-law.
McCoy is going through it. He was like in a deep meditative state. He was like in a different plane thinking about this question.
It just got me. So let's see.
This is the big P. That's what they meant in their podcast. The big P. Like, oh my God, they lived up to that.
It's a piece of shit for me. How about that? So my sister-in-law, Chic, I'm not gonna say her real name
hi,
because
Chic.
she hates me saying that. So that's her nickname, Chic. But if you're in France, she's Chic.
Chic.
So if you had a time machine, would you go back in time or visit the future? Okay, I thought about this. Oh wait, should I go first? I just take over. So
Clearly,
okay.
you should.
Okay, so I would go back in time and witness history because I'm scared of the future. I can only take my future one day at a time. I don't want to go in the future 100 years from now because I feel like I'm going to get my heart broken. In terms of seeing things that are different that I no longer recognize, or seeing my homes, places I love like Los Angeles and Manila, maybe burned to the ground or underwater the rate we are going. I don't want to see that. Or my family have all died out and I don't, I have no connection to anyone. I don't want to see that. At least in the past, I know what happened and I can just witness it with my own eyes and just be that.
You wouldn't go back and change anything?
No. Okay. With this question, I always say you cannot change anything because it's like a butterfly effect. Like changing one thing could change a million things in the future, and maybe you won't be alive or something. You won't have a future to go back to, but you change something. It's a very hard question to answer. Your question, it's very hard because yes, I would want to, I'd be tempted to, but I shouldn't because it will affect my present.
Would you have a specific moment when you're like, if I were to go back in time, I would change just one course in my life?
Oh, personally?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna go back to see, I don't know, like Christopher Columbus or something.
Okay, I have a question. Do I go back in the future knowing what I know now, and do I carry that with me?
Yes.
I mean, I'm talking in the past.
Yes.
Shit, I go back to like my grade school years. At least I'll be more aware and I'd fight for my right and for me.
Wait, I think not necessarily you won't be able to go back as your old self. You would be able to go back. So it's kind of weird that what is this 30-something-year-old man doing in a grade school class sitting
Then
there?
I can't change anything because that means I have to talk to my past
Old
self.
Yeah.
Which is gonna be weird. And if I was that kid, I'd be like, who the fuck are you? Get away from me.
You pervert.
Yes. Yes.
The McCoy from the past that hates older guys would totally throw you off.
The ageist.
Oh my god. Yeah, so I can't change anything because I'm going as me right now, going back in the past and seeing myself as a kid. There's no point. I don't want to relive all that. Seeing it with adult eyes, I can't. I cannot. I'm talking about like big things in the past, like significant
More historical.
Yeah, historical stuff, like significant things that happened in the Philippines, for example. I kind of want to see how they used to live before the Spanish came, what kind of language they use, if I could even understand the things that they are saying, because we know we rely on history books that were written by people who were not originally from those places.
White man.
Yeah, well, in the Philippines case, it's like Spanish man.
White man.
You're white.
How about you, D?
It's so generic. I feel bad having this, but I mean, given a chance, I would just go back in time. But I think it would be nostalgia's sake. I mean, if we were going the superheroes route and killing Hitler, sure, why not? But but then again, like you said, butterfly effect. That could change a whole. That could change a whole course of something. We don't really know if that's for the good or the bad. But I would think I would. At that moment, I would probably more inclined to going back in the past. I think it's the same reason why I like taking photos, because just the fact that I like to look back and like see where I was emotionally, or like when things happen. So I get very nostalgic. I mean, I will sit there sometimes and look at my old pictures before going to bed, just because it brings me back to a point where like either I'm happy or feeling good or not feeling so well, but it's just like a reminder. So there's that sucker in me to just be like, oh, I remember that time. So that's what I would probably jump into.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be fun, superhero going back in time, killing Nazis, but like you said, we don't know what's gonna happen. There might be a super Nazi if I did that.
Yeah.
Well,
afterwards,
it looks like those are super Nazis now. So
That's true. Wow.
Yeah.
How about you, Greg?
If I had a time machine, would I go back in time or in the future? I would definitely not go in the future, because it would leave expectations of how I think my life needs to be. Mm-hmm. So I don't want that information.
Yeah.
If I were to go back in time, and if I could do back in time and course correct my life, or give myself, and not course correct, change the course, like give myself new information to my younger self, I actually would do that. I would visit myself at times with various ex-boyfriends and say, don't do it.
Especially you like to get drunk and be absolutely gone. So maybe
that has nothing to do with what I was talking
I'm sorry.
about.
I thought like, okay. I thought when you did things when you were like inebriated or something like that.
No,
They'll take that out, deal. That's so judgmental.
No, you can leave that because it's clearly McCoy's judgmental is always going to be present. You can't course correct that, I guess.
I'll go back in the past.
No, I think I would inform myself of, some of the holds that I think our exes have on us. And I would tell my younger self, go back in time and tell my younger self that those feelings that you hold on to for this moment in time, do not carry it further than this. Because in order to live a life that you have always dreamt of, having this baggage from love derails you in so many various ways, So I would go back in time for that.
But Greg, okay, let's really picture the scenario, as if we are directing like a show. Like, where do you find yourself inserted in that moment? And it's like a kind of creepy thing where you're sitting in your room like crying or like really focus on a breakup and you just appear. Wouldn't you be like, where the fuck did you come from and who are you? Like,
no, I don't think I would. I think just for me, because I think that my understanding of the universe and just how the world works, that we get certain information no matter where we're at. Even it comes from like perfectly, like you don't know even strangers will tell you something exactly what you need to hear at that time, oddly enough, right? Yeah. And so I think, reflecting back, I think I would be absolutely open to it.
Okay.
Because I would know exactly what specific thing to say that could resonate.
Greg, I know exactly what you mean.
Set up the scenario for me. Like if it's like a one point, that's what I want to see. Like how would you picture it to happen?
Yeah, like what Greg is, what D is saying is like not D. Fuck, I'm all getting your names confused. Greg, how would you take it if your old self appears to your younger self? Like if you were younger, because if my old self appears to my younger self, I'd be like, why do you look like that? It's like, shit, I need to eat more salad.
not even that. I mean, like, what are you doing in my room?
Yes.
Like, what would be like? How would you do it? That's what I want to know. The details.
Well, one thing, I would not take the McCoy approach. Like, what the hell are you doing with your life? Interesting enough, I'd probably look at myself and back then and be hopeful to see myself now, right? So, which is opposite of, I guess, what McCoy's going through at this moment.
I mean, are you gonna go the route of like, like a ghost apparition and just be like, hey, like, what is it?
I remember exactly certain points in my life where I'm walking down the street or I'm just sitting down. Mm-hmm. I would visit myself at those specific moments,
okay, yeah.
But Greg, I get what you mean, because like I tend to hold to emotions beyond their expiration date. Like I should have let it go a long time ago, and I can't seem to just let it go and just be free of it. I just can't seem to.
Yeah, a lot of people can't. It's hard. I mean, we carry stuff that we've gone through even when we were kids all the way till now. You know?
Yeah.
Am I the only one who really can't see myself changing and like really going back and telling myself how not to feel?
No,
or feel another way?
I'm with you. I'm not comfortable with the idea of me going back in time and telling myself, hey, you shouldn't do this, or you should let go of this things and this and that. Because I feel like I'm gonna go mad. Not mad like the British term mad, like going crazy. And then it might affect my present because I might be crazy in the present because I saw my future self.
I think the only way I will actually accept, if someone actually was to tell me something at a certain point in my life, if it was just another person that I come across. So I don't think I can rely on myself to do that. I just don't see how I would be able to first convince myself, knowing myself. Like I think it would be if it was like a friend that I met who I've gotten to have a good connection with and give me an advice that way, knowing the things that I've gone through, then I'm more inclined to listen to it. But if it was myself who's telling my younger self like, hey, don't do this, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah,
like,
well,
what kind of shit are you pulling here?
Well, I wouldn't tell myself not to do something.
Yeah,
I would be very specific and tell myself the information or words that I need to know to move past something, versus getting stuck in it. Because I mean, there's so many times in my life where I just get stuck on repeat, like reliving an emotion or an experience over and over again. I think if I came to my younger self at those times to say, I don't know, like, you are enough, or you will one day move past this and it will be so much better, or that there is hope and you may not see it right now. Just like that seed. It's almost like in life, like we get certain droplets of like seeds implanted in us that tell us to see life in a certain way. I think that's what I would go back. So I would never go back to say, don't do that again, or don't wake up in that alley again. Sorry, too much information.
You woke up in an alley?
We don't need to talk about this.
Okay. That's for another episode. So, question number 3 from Glenn of Creepsilog.
What is Creepsilog?
Their podcast is about true crime and just general creepy stuff. They tell their stories with a twisted Filipino humor.
Ooh, sounds fun.
Oh, yeah. They talk about serial killers, but you tend to laugh at the situation, not at the victims, but at the situation, because it's already heavy as it is. So, and then, they're funny, and I kind of have a crush on both of them, but that's just for another episode. So let's see. It's from Glenn. So he says, I always wanted to hear creepy stories, not really ghost stories or aswang stories. He likes to listen to stories about being stalked by someone, being victimized by a catfish, or being scammed. He says he finds him creepy, and he likes to learn from other people's experiences. So the question is, do you guys have experiences in this stuff? He would love to hear them. So should I go first?
I'll go first because mine is very short. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm so vanilla when it comes to these things, and I am like skeptic as fuck. So
you are.
I mean,
AF. I like that.
Yeah, like I will always question someone's character when I first meet them.
Yeah.
And I am the whenever I'm talking to any of you guys, you're telling me a name, my first instinct is like pick up my phone and Google.
Yes.
Because I'm that bitch. I Google everyone that I know, so I'm that. True. So, but I've always kind of prepared myself too. Like even, the scam would be like, we were talking earlier, that's not really applicable anymore. But if you're a Nigerian prince asking me if we're related by something, that's the furthest scam that I've received. And even that, I don't entertain it. And, I'm the type of person to carry a mace and like a foldable knife and my keychain. So I'm always ready. so I'm really skeptical as fuck, and I don't think anyone can surprise me.
Yeah,
let's try.
You just remind me, I have, what is that? The Filipino was it bolo,
Balisong?
where it's like a stick.
Oh,
arnis?
Cali sticks?
Arnis.
Not the long, short ones, but like
Not
those,
the long.
like it looks like a bat, like a small bat. I got it from the Philippines. I used to get them a lot.
Oh,
And it has like
even at
The
that.
2 sticks?
no, just one stick. It's not
I don't know what that is,
What are
Greg.
you? Yeah, what are you gonna be doing? Like tinikling one person?
Are you sure there's not like an adult toy or something?
And Greg, it's floppy. By the way, you're showing me.
It's like this.
Greg, that looks like an adult toy.
I'm showing
But
Dee
do you-
McCoy this.
Do you plug it into a wall
No.
afterwards
It
or
does look like
something?
a dildo now that I look at it. You really destroyed this experience for me.
Why does
Lolo
the
gave it
box
to me,
say
and
Adam and Eve?
It's from the Philippines. It's like a little bat. It's really pretty. So it's like a
a bat dildo.
Inches. It's like 12 inches. It has like what's that,
Wait,
like
and
it's a design.
and it comes with the lube already? Is that what it is?
You guys, this has to be a Filipino thing. Please tell me this is like a Filipino thing.
I think the way it.
Are you trying to say my Lolo gave me like a dildo? Is that what you're
I think the way that deters people is if someone walks in on him and I'm like, oh, okay, sorry, like I'm gonna close.
Alright, I'll post this on our Insta feed. That way, and you could share with me what this is, because it's from the Philippines and it's not a dildo.
Okay, we will have a poll on Instagram.
It's
Once
a stick.
this episode is live, you guys can say yes or no if it's a dildo or not. There you go. That's what we'll do.
You guys suck, honestly. You guys suck so bad.
Okay. Oh my god.
You guys are so bastos.
I'm dying. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, where were we?
Okay, you guys. I answered
Let's put the
yeah,
stick
I'm
away.
vanilla.
But you. Okay.
So,
I hate you guys.
oh, should I go next? Okay, let's see. Catfish. So, I wasn't the one that was catfish. I mean, AOL days, there's a lot of catfish out there. But a good friend of mine at the time, he had like an online boyfriend, or he was dating someone online on AOL. And it was time to meet, except the guy lives up north. We're in Southern California. He was in Northern California, barely Northern California. It was more like Central Valley, but that's for a different story. So we were young, so we wanted to be spontaneous. I was like, I'll drive you guys, and we'll pick him up. So the three of us, the Tita team, as D calls us.
Auntie team.
Oh, is it Auntie, not Tita? So the Auntie team, I drove, and they were with me.
To be clear, I'm not part of this auntie team.
He's not. He wasn't cool enough. So the aunties drove up there. I was driving my car, and we got to where he lives. Oh my god. We will name my friend shit, I don't want to come up with a name. D, help me out. What name?
I don't know. All the names that's coming out of my head are already taken by actual people.
Actually, yeah. Okay, so this friend who's supposed to meet up with this guy, so he walked
Junior.
up. Yes, so Junior walked up to the front door. Oh, you should have seen his face.
What happened?
It was like a face of like shock and disappointment, like
From your friend.
Yes, and I was like, why? So I was talking to the other friend who was with us, and I was like, why, what's going on? So it turns out the picture that was sent to Junior was a blurry picture. Who sends blurry picture? Fuck, this is like well into like AOL days. So he wasn't clear as to what this guy looks like, but we were already up there, so obviously Junior wasn't attracted to this guy, but we already picked him up. He was already packed, so we had to take
picked him up and packed. Where were you taking him?
Back to LA.
You drove how many hours?
I don't know, 6 hours.
To pick up a blurry face?
Pictured guy, yes. So we were there and we were like, well, we can't back out now. So we picked him up and it was very awkward. I could feel the tension in the back seat where they were holding hands, but Junior really wasn't into it. I could already tell. So anyway, we wanted to drive across from Central Valley to San Jose to pick up another friend. We will call him Mark. So we drove down from San Jose from there, right, back to LA. So I drove at night. I think I worked. So after my work around 6. So we got there around midnight to Central Valley. Then we got to San Jose like another hour. So 1 a.m., maybe like 2, we drove down to LA. Sunlight was already out. Like the sun was already out when we got back to LA. I was so exhausted, and that's why this is my fucking story to tell, because I got tired. So we were back in LA, and I had to like sleep for a few hours because I was so exhausted. So that was on a Saturday. Right? We got back on a Saturday morning. So the next day we were having dim sum. And Greg, I think you've gone to our dim sum. Some of the dim sums get really large. I think that was one of the largest that we had. About maybe
West Covina, right?
Yes. And I think about 18 people showed up. So Junior had to take this guy that he was supposedly dating online to the dim sum for the rest of the friends to see. And Junior is very good looking, and a lot of people have crushes on him. So when they saw the guy, they were like, "That's the guy?" Like they had this look, they had this judgmental look, and I felt so bad for the guy. I really did. I was like, "Oh, he didn't sign up for this." So that afternoon, he already felt like he wasn't welcome. Or he wasn't wanted, I guess. I welcomed him. I had no investment in him, but so he decided to book a flight that afternoon to go back home.
Wow.
Something like that. So he flew back home that afternoon, but I felt so bad. I mean, if I'm looking at it from Junior's point of view, that must have been awkward to be sitting by the guy for hours on end and to feel like you have to be affectionate accommodating and affectionate, but you're not really into the guy. So that's the catfish story.
Well, if the guy catfished him, your friend, that's messed up. Honestly, that's not being everything that you say after that, you have to doubt because that person wasn't being 100% truthful. However, he was showing a blurry photo.
Yes.
That's the thing. He didn't send a different photo. It was just,
So is that a catfish or is that just a scam? I don't know.
How was the case? Was it just really that person did not have any other photos at all, or were they all pretty much Japanese porn pixelated? I would have to question if
now we know what you watch.
Come on, you guys all know. We'll do that to Greg's dildo later when we post a picture.
It's not a dildo. It's from the Philippines.
A Filipino dildo. A Filipino province dildo.
But was that the case where all his photos were like that?
I don't know, because I was shocked at the reaction, because I wasn't privy to this conversation that my other friend and Junior were having. Because I was like, well, what's going on? So when I found out, I'm like, oh, shit. Because, this happened to me before. Yeah, so, another catfish story. In Rome, not so long ago, I was catfished. I walked like 3/4 of a mile to get to his place. But I don't understand why he catfished me, because he was better looking than the picture he sent.
Oh.
So...
Well, he wasn't catfishing you.
Oh, it's like...
That's not catfish.
Oh, he was just doing a better expectation. It's like underselling. There you go. He was under promising, but when you got there, it was like,
he was,
this is like you got better than what you expected.
Oh, okay.
That's how you run a business. Under promise, over deliver.
Yeah, that's not a creepy story. That's actually a pretty good story. I'd be like, hey.
Okay. Well, the creepy story is the fact that I walked through like 3/4 of a mile in a street in Rome I'm not familiar with, so, and in like midnight. So that's the creepy part. But anyway,
I think he was just making you work for it to know that the outcome is actually better than what you expected.
I worked for it. Oh shit, I worked. Anyway, so a scam. Let's see. So I went to Madrid.
Insert your own visuals right now.
So a scam.
We'll also post a picture of it on Instagram.
Oh no, I deleted the picture. But Greg, I must have sent you some picture. So okay, let's see. In Madrid. And Greg, you had warned me about this, and Rich has also warned me about this. Be careful in Madrid. There's a lot of scammers, a lot of like pickpockets and all that. But I got off of a flight. I had a stop in Munich, I think, and I was just so exhausted. And there was this bus. It cost €5 at the time, so it was like the cheapest option for me. So a bus from the airport to the train station. That's about 5 minutes walk from my hotel. So the bus has 3 stops in the city. So I think the second stop, these 3 people had got on board, and I know they got on board because I was looking straight at them, and I was like, something is not right. It didn't feel right. So anyway, so that was the second stop, and then the third stop before the last stop. The third stop, people, I think half of the people had got off because maybe they had hotels in the area. So I was in the second to the last row of the bus. So one of the ladies that got on sat behind me, and I was like, that's weird. Okay, but I didn't pay attention because, like I said, I was like mentally like done. I was just tired. It was like late at night. So I put my little tote bag from my lap next to me because I was just tired, guys. That's my only excuse. So there was a guy sitting in front of me because it was one of those like family seats where the row in front of you faces you.
It's facing you, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a 4 thing that's like facing each other. So this guy he got up. He was sitting diagonal to me, and he got up and he was taking pictures outside the bus, like taking pictures of the buildings, I guess. And he was saying something to me in Spanish, and it got really close to the point that I had to back up. And I said, "Lo siento, no hablo español." I said, "I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish." So he backed up a little bit, and he was taking pictures, this and that. So I was like, that's weird. So he came back for another round, and he said, "Oh, Ministerio," or something like that, Ministerio de Salud, or something like Ministry of Health. And I took a glance at it, and I was like, that building is not even interesting. But he was like so close to me that once again I had to back up. And when he gave me a little bit of space, I could see from the corner of my eye that this lady that was sitting behind me was already in my bag, trying to get whatever. I think she had my passport wallet in her hand. And I turned my head really quick, and she dropped it. Keep in mind, I was being careful because I had my wallet in one pocket. I have my cash and some credit cards in another pocket. I have another set of cash in another pocket, and I have cash inside my shoes. Just in case something like this happens, I'll have money and I'll have cards and all that. Like, they're all separated in my ID, but my passport I didn't think about, so that was in my bag. So she almost got it. So when I looked, she dropped it and pretended she was looking outside the other window as if nothing happened. So I grabbed my bag, I put it on my lap, and I was hyperventilating. I was so nervous because like these people could beat me, they could fuck me up in the bus. And I'm in a foreign country where I don't speak the language. So we finally got to the last stop. So I saw there was 2 cops by the train station. And when I got out, I wanted to walk towards them and tell them what happened. But when I looked back, the 3 people were already gone. Because this is what they do. So I was so disoriented the whole night. Usually I'm very good at navigating, finding my way to the hotel. But because I was so like nervous, I was so like, I was just shocked. I was in shock. I was going another direction until it took me like 15 minutes to realize I was going the other direction walking. So it took me about 40 minutes to find my hotel because I was just like in shock that this happened. I've traveled all over the place, and this is the first time this actually happened to me. So that whole night I couldn't sleep. I had a hookup come over And I was like, I'm really not in the mood. So they ruined sex.
You know, you could have avoided all this with a Filipino stick. See? You guys clown on it like it looks like a dildo, but you would have been safe.
But I didn't know because I was scared, because what if they were following me walking to my hotel and they beat me up in the street and take my shit? I mean, what am I gonna do? It's like 3 against 1. Granted, it's like 1 male and 2 females, but they could take me. They can really take me.
Well, were you in a public space afterwards when you were...
Well, because after the train station, I was walking on the sidewalk towards what I thought was the direction of my hotel, and it was just like a regular sidewalk.
Yeah.
You know, and you're in that was my first time in Madrid, and it taught me a lot of lessons, like not even a minute. You should never stop paying attention. Granted, I was tired, and in a way, a part of me wants to say, none of the blame should go to me, because none of this should be happening in this world, but it does. So you have to pay attention, and I would say maybe 10% of the blame goes to me because I wasn't paying attention. I didn't take the warnings to mind. I mean, I was aware of it, but I didn't think that it could happen to me. So...
Yeah, I think that's one thing that Amaro can honestly say, like, whenever we're traveling, that he gets annoyed of. Like, I am very conscious and always checking on him. It's like, wear your bag in the front.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I always carry, like, a belt bag or, like, a sling bag. Just like, I always wear it in the front. I have my camera there, everything else that I carry on a daily basis. So, yeah, that's always, like, something I always tell. I would look at Amaro, like, the zipper of your bag is pretty much open. I could have taken it. To the point where I kind of just want to do it to him, just and be like, "Where's your wallet?" And I'm like, "I don't know where it's at. It's here, motherfucker." Like, it's right. Yeah. Like, yeah. So that's one thing that I mean, maybe it's the paranoid side in me, but traveling wise, I've always.
You're not paranoid, because I witnessed something like this in Bosnia, in Mostar, where I thought that me and my family were walking, and then this couple were walking faster than us, so they kind of bypassed us, and there was a lady behind them, and in my head I'm like, oh, the 3 of them are traveling together. So when the guy stopped because he felt something behind him. It turns out the lady behind them was trying to get in his bag and get his wallet or whatever, and I'm like, was she trying to rob them? So apparently, yeah, she was, because she wasn't with them. She was that close for me to think that they were all together, because she was like 4 inches away from them. So she was like in his bag apparently. So be careful out there.
When I was younger, we were in Paris, and we were at this really nice hotel, and I had to stay in the room with my brothers, and the hotel, we were on the high floor and overlooked a big park. It was beautiful, and at night.
Which park?
I don't know exactly which one. I was a kid.
You were fancy, Greg. Paris as a kid?
Yeah, why? Well, that's weird. That's off subject. So we were looking outside, and so there's a big park. It was at night, and the crosswalk was right in front of the hotel, like just right below my hotel window. So we'd stare at night because we can't go out. And large groups of people use the crosswalk. But what ended up happening a lot of the times, this has happened maybe like 4 times that night, the people on the motorcycles, as the people started crossing the crosswalk, the motorcycles would zip right through the crosswalk and grab the purses of these young girls. And some of them would fall, and they would just keep, and they would do it like maybe 3 or 4 times in that one night. It was unbelievable to watch.
So you actually saw it while happening from...
Yeah, it happened 3 or 4 times. I remember watching it. And we try to scream out loud outside the window, I think, to tell
Scream
them.
like, ha ha. Like that.
No, not like you dick. I said, where's your Filipino stick? Use it.
Maybe they were using it.
Well, I think about, like, I don't know if I have much stories about creepers. I think one time when I first learning to drive, got my license, I was driving down, going to the freeway from my house. There was a really creepy guy in a car, and I had to make a left turn, and he was facing me, because it was like you go down the hill and you have to make a left, and they have to stop.
So he was facing you, so he was on the other side of the road, but he was.
Yeah, he was trying to make a right. I was going to make a left.
So he was like is that the word perpendicular?
Perpendicular, yeah.
So he was to your left. You were making a left. You were entering his lane.
Yeah.
But he was making a. Okay, I get it.
When I was going down the hill, and there was a street that I had to make a left on, and it's kind of at a little slope. So I was making a left down his street, and he was believed he was going to make a right on my street, but I have right away. So I made a left, but he came out way too far, and I couldn't get past him really well. So I flipped him off, and he was this really creepy looking guy, and he had no emotion. And I was like, whatever. And then after I flipped him off, he turned around. And then he started following me, like really close throughout all the different streets.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, he's following me. I don't know what to do. So I got on the freeway, got in the middle lane, and he was just following me. And what I did was I stepped on my brakes in the middle of the freeway. So he had no other choice but to swerve around me. And then he just stared at me. He just looked at me, drove really slow and just looked at me, and then drove forward. And then I quickly switched lanes to the nearest exit so he couldn't follow me anymore because he passed the exit. And he just gave me one of those like really creepy, scary looks, but with no emotions. He wasn't mad. He was just like slowly just watching me.
Are you sure this wasn't kind of like role play situation for you?
I feel like you want me to live your dreams or something. This is like something that
I listened to another podcast, Let's Not Meet, and a lot of those stories where they get followed, they go to a police station.
Yeah, that happened to one time it happened to one of my friends. They got picked. His mom, oh my God, his mom was so cute. She was like a short little Filipino, really nice soul, like really like gentle, really cute. She picked up my friends up to go home, and this creepy guy started following them for like miles and miles and miles. God. And what she did was that she drove to the police station, and then that's when he left.
That's terrible.
Yeah, the experience of someone following me is freaking out. And then my other creepy stories revolves around my exes.
Greg, you and your exes. You have a story you want to tell us?
Well, this one time, an ex-boyfriend I was with for a number of years, I think, we finally broke up. And I remember it was maybe like a week that went by. And I came home. My family was home. My family's always at my house. And he was always over. I came home. I said hi to them. And then I walked upstairs. I was maybe about like 10 feet from my room. And I had this really unsettling feeling. And my room was dark. And I was thinking, I feel like someone was in my room. Like, that's not supposed to be there. You know, like I just felt this really weird energy. I slowly went in my room and I just, stuck my hand in my room to turn on the lights. Yeah. Just to make sure no one was there. I was like, and then as I opened the door, there were like 24 long stem roses from him.
Was it like in a cross formation or something?
They're all upside down.
And then, what is it? What do you call? And then, was it an easel stand?
like in the mortuary, like it's a funeral. I think I don't know. Like, I think I'm supposed to have felt, oh, this is really cute, right? Yes. And this is romantic. But I was pissed because it was I felt like someone was in my room that wasn't supposed to.
They violated your space.
And then I ran downstairs and I was like, I saw my auntie. I was like, Auntie, who was in the house? Who was in the house? Yeah. And she told me that she saw him. And he was, hi, Auntie, and just kept on walking into the house. And my aunt didn't know any better, and she just let him in. And that's how he got into my house and left 24 long stem roses. I don't know, is that supposed to be romantic or not romantic?
From his point of view, it's supposed to be romantic, but from your point of view, it's like, why are you in my house when we're no longer together? So I think maybe the lesson learned should be, you should tell your family you're no longer with this person, they're not allowed in the house. I don't know.
So like, you should have just like a chart, and then whenever something happens, you cross their name out so they know like, oh,
Well, with Greg.
Oh my God, ISD, wow.
Greg, you should
it's
have
like
a chart.
A calendar.
Yes.
You know, like when the day comes, you just cross it out. So kind of like that. You just cross the name. Or like a car sales people, they just put like a sticker.
I'm
they're like, oh,
I'm a
Sold, or
Yeah, hey, there you go. What's that?
Denied.
Done or canceled, or just kind of a circle with an X like thing on top of it.
Could
like
not
that.
get financed.
Oh.
Wow. You guys are messed up.
No.
And, I'm realizing actually a lot of my exes have left something for me to find, either out my front of my apartment door, like in my room in this case, or somewhere else. They've all have.
Wait, but at least what did they leave you? At least is it like good stuff? Do they leave like shit on fire at your door, or are they all good stuff at least?
No, all good stuff. Like, roses.
Okay.
I did get one creepy thing. I did get like for Valentine's Day. We have already broken up, and he left me a giant white teddy bear that when you squeeze it, it's his voice. He says, "I love you, I love you, I love you."
That's creepy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was.
Do you still have it? Can we play that audio?
No, I let go of it. I had to.
That would have been.
Would you really keep a teddy bear with your ex's voice saying, "I love you, I love you"?
Wait.
For
It wasn't
shits
some
and
kind of
giggles.
mechanical voice. It was actually his voice.
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
It's one of those recordy ones.
No.
But did he did he do like a change his voice, like a baby voice, or afterwards, or is it his real
A
speaking
baby
voice?
voice.
I want to know, like, in details. Like, is
It was
his
like
actual
McCoy's
speaking
growl.
voice? Yeah, exactly, like that. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, no, it was. I guess I felt like I was supposed to see this as romantic as well too, but I just didn't find it as romantic.
What would be a game changer for you then, if you were to find something in your like front door and you'd be like, okay, this is acceptable? What would that be?
What would be acceptable?
Yeah, like what would be an acceptable
food.
thing?
You would really take food from an ex that has left
Hey,
you?
if it's sealed and I can tell it wasn't tampered with, then
No. I'm still suspicious as fuck.
Yeah, what?
That shit.
Peanuts?
I'm like-
Why would you want peanuts?
I guess I'm just perpetually hungry. So
So what would
There
be an
is
acceptable
nothing.
thing?
There's nothing acceptable. I was thinking about
Greg, really?
because I'm a sucker for
hey,
artwork.
if it was like an envelope
But
full
I
of
would
cash,
not.
I'm like, yes, I'll take it. Thank you.
No, it comes out of. I don't know what I said. I don't know. I don't.
Why are you
think there's
holding that
anything
dildo to your neck?
Someone left you a full setup on an iPad Pro with computer, with keyboard and like a pencil in your front
I'll take
like
it.
thing, and you're gonna be like, what?
Yeah. They'll get a text from me. Thanks.
Well, I have.
And then block.
You send a picture of it. And
Yes.
put, like,
I got it.
on
Thanks.
There has to be an acceptable thing where you're like, okay, fine. It doesn't mean you're gonna accept them or take it. Like it's just that it's not creepy that they did that. What would that be?
I don't think there'd be anything like that. That's just creepy if someone leaves you something.
Even like a love letter, like a letter.
Well, love
explaining
letter is
something.
different. No, that's different. But like gifts
So
and
see,
stuff.
because I did that. I left a letter with my ex and saying you should
so
have
you were the
fucking left me
creeper.
alone. No. I said you should have fucking left me alone. I was fine without you. I didn't want to get back with you, but you asked me to, and now you break up with me. So f you. Shit. I shouldn't have said
You should
that.
have done that, Mako. You should have done that, but as the bear, like one of Greg's ex, like a long ass message.
I should have left you a long time ago, and I love you. Like that bear.
And while the bear is holding that little heart that says "miss you," like
Oh my god, no, I can't.
with
I
like
cannot.
Well, now
was
that
it.
we know who the creepers are in this, out of the three of us.
Hey, no. Let me get that straight. I wasn't a creeper. I left a letter saying you should have just fucking left me alone. So who was the creeper here? Wait.
But that's
Okay,
different.
never
That's
mind.
not. That's not.
Fine.
Who's the creeper here? You are.
I guess. I just left it in their mailbox.
What? With thorns, Bob
he
wire
just
around.
left it in his mailbox, and he was
With
waiting in a car a
anthrax.
block away, waiting for
Watching.
them to open the mailbox.
McCoy's next episode on how to be a creeper.
So hopefully we answered Glenn's question, or we satisfied his craving for creepy stuff.
Creepsilog. You guys all have to check it out. And I think that will conclude this week's episode of You've Got Queeries.
Oh, wait,
okay.
We got that. That will conclude this episode of You've Got Queeries.
Queeries.
We're going to keep on working on that, guys. All right. That is our episode. Leave us a comment. If you have questions, let us know. We will respond. You can reach us on
social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at GamChat Podcast.
Or you can email us their questions at gamchatpodcast@gmail.com, or also leave us a voicemail at anchor.fm/gamchatpodcast.
And we'll catch you on the next one.